Exclusively on Secular Media Network, this is the Gaytheist Manifesto.
Hello and welcome to the Gaytheist Manifesto, your source for news, commentary, discussion, and debate at the intersection of the atheist movement and the LGBT rights movement. I'm your host, Callie Wright. Today is Sunday, September 6th, 2015, and today we have an extra special episode for you. David Moore and David Ermold are one of several couples who were denied a marriage license by Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis in the months since the Supreme Court's decision on marriage equality. So much of the press and so much of the attention has focused on Kim Davis, and less of it has been focused on the people whose lives were actually affected by her refusal to do her job. As many listening may know, Davis was eventually jailed for her refusal to perform her duties. I think it's important to remember that debates over the rights of queer and trans people are not debates of abstract political concepts and ideas. We're talking about the actual lives of real people in their own quest for love and happiness. So I wanted to give the Davids my platform to tell their story from their own perspective. All right, David and David, welcome to the Gaytheist Manifesto.
Hi, thank you for having us.
So tell me a little bit about your story, just how you guys met, all of that sort of stuff.
Well, the funny thing is we met online, so for all of this attention that we got originally from online seems a little kind of ironic, but long time ago, I guess, what was it, 97, 98, David? Yeah, it was about 97, 98. I posted a web page, kind of like GeoCities on theglobe.com, and David did the same thing. We just started talking back and forth, and then, what was it, about a year or so later? Yeah, 98. 98, I decided to move down here and be with David and go to college. What do you say?
Awesome. And so like a fairy tale after that, just, you guys fell in love and, decided to get married?
Yeah, perfect. I would say any marriage is a perfect marriage,
Right.
No. We've had our ups and downs all over the place. In fact, we've had some ups and downs through this experience right here. It's just kind of aggravating with everything that's going on. And but we regroup and come back. I mean, what else can you do? I don't know what else you can do. We are very average, normal people,
right?
That just kind of, we wanted to cement this thing. We've been together for 17 years, long enough that it was just time to cement it.
Yeah, and I mean, had either of you ever fancied yourself as any sort of, activists or, anything like that? Or do you now even?
Well, it's funny because we were going through Facebook right now and we didn't realize that there was a spam folder there.
Oh, God, you saw your other inbox?
Yeah, that's
oh, those are the worst.
It's all Sunday right now. Yes, apparently. But sorry, this is going to be like the worst interview ever. But
no, this is great.
But I was looking at, David was reading some of the hate stuff. Surprisingly, I've only come across one. It says, "Give up now, boy." Right? So, that's one I have. But if you look at the videos on YouTube and stuff online that was posted, some of them were horrible. There's some really despicable stuff out there, which is kind of shocking. Maybe I just, over the years, kind of separated myself or closed myself off to all of that. But it's actually really hateful. I can't believe that people still really, truly think the way that they do. But on the other side, there's been so much support, so much, that it's overwhelming. And I don't know. It's just a mixed mixed feeling right now.
Yeah. So tell me about the first time going into into the clerk's office to try and get a marriage license. I mean, was it general knowledge that they weren't handing these out at the time that you went in for the first time, or were you like really surprised when you were turned away the first time?
We did know in advance. There was actually, I think 4 other couples who had went in the week before. And we were there the first day because people were protesting, and we went down and we stood with them that day. And we had already decided long ago we were going to get married as soon as it became legal pretty much in Kentucky, because, you know, even though you could get married in other states, they wouldn't be recognized, you know, living in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So we've been together so long, we already feel like we are married. And we're like, well, we're going to go into, and really we wanted to talk to her and maybe try to appeal to her emotionally, you know, to let her know that we had been together so long, and what gives her the right to stand there and judge us. You know, we're just like anyone else, you know, and she came out and she talked to us finally at the end there, and we did turn the camera off because she asked us to. And she did talk to us, but she kind of told us the Adam and Eve story, you know, about
kind of.
Yeah, she said, you know, from Adam's rib, and that was the first marriage, I guess, and that's why marriage is between a man and a woman. I asked her, you know, what's the worst thing that's going to happen here if you give gay people a marriage license, and she said that she was concerned about her soul and her own salvation. You know, and she said it's always been a man and a woman, and I was like, well, you know, some people are born with both sets of genitals. What do you say about that? It's science. It's real. It happens. And she said that was up to God. That was between them and God, and she couldn't say anything about that. I also said, you know, you've probably given licenses to murderers and rapists and child molesters over the years, and you probably didn't even know it. And she said that, but that was okay because that was a man and a woman.
Yeah, and I think
wow,
that was the fuse. That was what lit everything, and it was like we cannot just stand and take that. I think too, you know, there was a lot of people just have questioned so much about us, and it's silly because they don't know what they're talking about. The week after the Supreme Court ruling, not the week after, like a day or so after, as soon as we found out that they weren't issuing the licenses down there, I wrote a letter to the clerk's office basically telling them that we were coming down. I didn't say when, but because we hadn't really fully talked about it because we didn't know, and we wanted to we really didn't want to bum rush the clerk's office. I didn't think that was the appropriate thing to do. You know, change takes time. So we went out. I sent the letter, told them that we didn't have to talk to the ACLU. We didn't want to have to talk to any media or anything like that. So basically, it's kind of funny to say it this way, but we gave them a warning that we were coming down for our marriage license.
Right.
You know? But and then and then we went down, and then I sent a letter off to what is it, Judge Blevins? Yeah, Judge Blevins, asking him, and that one was a little bit different. I was just asking him to uphold, you know, the integrity of the county and the city and all of that, and it was a little bit different. What's going to happen is once the court cases actually start happening, I think a lot of stuff is going to get revealed, and people will see that no, we didn't attack her or anything like that. It really was kind of a very steady type thing where we were trying to do the professional thing, you know, and try and handle it the best way we could. This last time that we went down, before the last time we got denied, I'm not proud of that day. We got very angry, and it just seemed out of character for us.
Well, I don't regret anything that I said that day. I didn't get angry. I felt like it was justified, and I wasn't just angry for us. I was angry at the way the other couples were being treated, and the way that, you know, the way that the law was being treated in our county. I was angry at the whole thing.
I just hate like this is what it is.
It may look a certain way, but the other side of that is that she did come out and she revealed herself to the public, and that's up to the public to decide. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I get angry a lot too because, you know, as a trans person, obviously there's a long way to go for us too, and you know, I think obviously you have to walk a fine line, because the public who isn't as passionate about these, and maybe not even necessarily passionate in, political activism or anything, but obviously this is personal for us.
Right.
Obviously there's a reason to be angry, but for people who it's not personal for, you can turn people off. And I think that's sad.
Well, it is sad, and it's very personal here. This is a small community. We don't have dinner or chit chat with the people out in the clerk's office, but they know us by face.
Mm-hmm.
When we walk, they know who we are before all of this started. We go down there every year to do our driver's licenses. So it is kind of personal. It was interesting when we did get our license. They had a computer there, and it said, what did it say? Marriage license deputy is what it said. And I have to say, it reminds me exactly of back in the civil rights when you had segregation going on. I can't really comment too much about the clerk, but I can say that it's, I understand why they wanted everyone to go to one clerk. I get it. But that can't stand over time, I don't think. I understand maybe slowly moving this thing in so people can adjust, but that would still be segregation to be asking, having one clerk to issue gay marriage licenses. If that one clerk's going to issue all licenses, perhaps. But even there, it still would be based upon same-sex marriage. Yeah. So to me, it's still discrimination. But that's further down the line.
Yeah, well, I agree. I mean, you've got the gay clerk over here and the straight clerk over here. That's barely better.
It's barely better, but I don't know that they're trying to go do that. They've just had a separate marriage clerk in other states is what they've done. And I would hate to see those accommodations really make their way through the legislature, because I think it is legislating discrimination. But I do know that things have to kind of creep along a little bit. You can't expect everyone to change their minds overnight.
Why not? Damn it. So you guys finally did get your license. So tell me about that day.
It's videoed out there. We went in late. I had to work. I teach at a university in Pikeville, and I had to work that day. So we came in late, and we talked about it. I probably could have asked to have a day off, but I didn't. We kind of slipped in after most of the media was gone, and that's kind of what we wanted to do. It just seemed more appropriate. And you know what? We got tagged with this thing through the media, like just pounded by the media from it. And the whole thing is, there's other couples out there that were involved, and they needed their time. They need a little bit more time. I know that they've been talking to the media and stuff, but it just seems like we got a little bit of the focus. I guess rightly so. I mean, as far as the videos are concerned, they are pretty horrible looking.
Well, every time we went in, basically, the 2 times we went in, Kim Davis came out, and she wouldn't do that before. She wouldn't even talk to the press, period. So we basically got her to come out and talk to the press and talk in front of the press.
Yeah, that's what we thought. Somehow, some way, we had this ability to get her to talk, and we interviewed her. Basically, if you really look at the videos, we kind of were asking the questions everybody wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
She needed to come out and face people and face, what she was doing. But anyway, back to Friday, Dave. I was supposed to be answering that question.
Oh, what was it? I forgot.
I was just saying, tell me about the day that you actually got your license, how that whole thing went down.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's mixed feelings, to be honest with you, because she's in jail, and that does not make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
As far as just let me talk. You can have your own opinion. So as far as her being in jail, it didn't make me happy that day, But we got our marriage license, and I talked to David, and I talked to some other people, and I said, how am I supposed to feel, going and getting married on the back of someone's freedom? And I get it. It's not guilt. It's not that we did anything to her. I understand that she made all the choices herself, but still, it's there, and I hate that it's at the cost of someone's freedom for the time being. I do hate that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're still a human being with compassion for other human beings, even if she's done this, this thing to hurt you. I think that's totally understandable.
Yeah, I don't. She is a person. Believe it or not, she's a person. But I will
right.
We went down there when I asked her under his authority, and she says under God's authority. That was, I mean, if people were to look at that video and just see her face, it was vicious, and that was just not the best feeling right then and there.
Other David, I think you said you had an opinion that maybe was slightly different.
I'm sorry.
Earlier it sounded like other David might have an opinion that was slightly different.
Yeah,
we don't agree on everything. Yeah,
right.
One couple does agree on everything. So,
right.
I don't know. You already said it. So.
No, what you can tell me how you feel. It's fine.
He asked you what we did Friday, and you still haven't said it, so I don't know what.
We went and got a marriage license.
Okay.
Well, I thought I did address that. Is it not? Go ahead.
I don't know.
But go ahead. Why are you so active?
You answer the question.
I said we went and got our license. I said,
can you talk about Kim Davis?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you know what? You get down to the office so many times, everything just kind of blurs itself together. As far as the day we actually went, right, and got the license, after I drove back. You want the real inside story? I was expecting to meet David at the college so we could go down, and he needed to change his clothes. And so we waited a little bit for him to get there. And
no, stop. And I went home to change, and I did do an interview like over the phone, and I was changing clothes and ironing my clothes, and I bought a tie, and I don't know how to tie a tie, so I texted him and I said, "Come home." I said, "Don't go downtown, don't go to the courthouse. Come home and tie this tie for me." So and then I get a message from my friend at work, and she's like, "David's here." And come home, because he does not read any text that I send him. It never happens. So I was like, whatever. I just threw on the tie I wore like a couple days ago and just went down there.
I forgot the car charger is what it was. I couldn't charge my phone.
Good excuse. I was late anyway, but it's fine. So we went in, and a lot of the press had left already, which was great in a way because we've dealt with that all week and really for the last 2 months. So we got to go in and get it, and it felt kind of surreal. And they did have just the one deputy clerk there who basically, he had a sign up. What did that sign say? What did it say?
Marriage license deputy.
Yes, marriage license deputy.
Yeah.
So they directed us to him, and he gave us our license. We cried a little bit. I mean, I pretty much cried all morning, so I was kind of tired by that point.
Well, I was sobbing.
We were crying a lot. We walked out. We had to make a statement in front of the media, and we had a good group of supporters there who were giving us cards and flowers, and that was nice. And there were also protesters. There were people there that were protesting.
The funny thing is,
marriage.
The protesters were playing bagpipe music, which they were nice when they come out.
Yeah, we thought that was for us, but maybe it was against us.
This is like a wedding processional.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was okay. I was fine with it. So, we made like a really brief statement to the press, and then we basically got in the car, came home, and we went to Lexington, which I guess that's like an hour from here. Mm-hmm. We just had a few drinks and at Cheddar's, and actually some of the servers at Cheddar's came up to us and they recognized this, and this happens a lot now, and they were telling us, that we had their support or whatever, and that they thought everything that was happening was terrible. And, it was kind of, we got to relax a little bit, and I kind of turned my phone off at one point and just stopped reading messages and everything that we were getting. But all in all, I mean, it was a pretty good day.
Yeah, it was exciting. When I was at work, I was kind of paying attention to Will and April and all of them. I was watching them go in and get their licenses, and it was really exciting to see. It was, and you know, it was a good day overall. Well, except I felt a little sick when I got home because I will tell you this. I told everybody this, but I've lost almost 20 pounds since this all started, and I think David is close to that as well. So it's a good experience losing weight. But
just because of the stress of the whole situation, or
it's the stress plus, I guess, seeing myself on video and how fat I was, and then reading comments. Like we basically read all the negative comments.
Oh God, you never read the comments, guys.
It's fine. Our favorite one, they called it Silkberry Gay Boys. So that was
Doughberry Gay Boys. Wow.
Their favorite comment. Yeah.
Yeah. So the only way you can kind of mitigate the hate there, or the feeling of it, is just kind of make a joke out of it. So
right
around the house and just say, "Hey, Pillsbury, what are you doing?" Some way you can get over it.
Yeah. So, if I can ask, if this is too personal, feel free to not answer. But are either of you particularly religious at all?
I am not religious. I grew up, with kind of a Baptist background with my parents and everything, and then I kind of, went through a few different phases of searching for things, and now I'm just not religious at all. David's different though. David Ermald.
I was raised Christian, but and over the years. I'm an art. I'm an English teacher, and I've read a lot of literature and stuff that deals with Christ and Christianity and whatnot. And my view is a little bit different. Growing up Christian has been difficult because we kind of went from church to church to church. Oh, believe it or not, I was raised Christian, and then my mom wanted to. Jehovah's Witnesses came by the house, so that's been an on-off thing for a long time. So I've been to the Kingdom Hall. I've been through that. Or later than that, when I was with my dad, they were Catholic, so I was at the Catholic Church for a little while up there. So I've had a lot of different experiences. So that has just kind of blended all of this stuff together for me. But for me to say that I'm absolute one particular religion or absolute Christian, I can't say that. But I can say that I have empathy and sympathy for people who have their beliefs. I don't want them to have to lose their beliefs. I just don't want them attacking others because of it.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm pretty close to being an atheist. I'm open to things, but I would never say absolutely 100% that there is no possibility of some type of creator thing. But I think there are a lot of more interesting possibilities out there now at this point. So I just kind of rejected most religious ideas, I think, at this point. Dave is still open to a lot of it.
I'm open to it. I'm more drawn to the pagan things, really, the Wicca pagan stuff. I'm a little bit more drawn to that because it stresses equality and balance, and I like that idea, even if it's just a philosophy more than a religion. But I like the philosophy of it. Basically doing to others.
That's very cool. So, as we sort of wrap up here, what does the future look like for you guys? So, has all of this sparked any interest in activism or anything like that going forward, or are you happy to just kind of fade back into just being a normal couple and just living a normal life? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
Well, at first, I can't speak for Dave, but at first for me, I thought, okay, the first time we went in and, we had the video go viral or whatever, and I was actually terrified of the whole experience, like dealing with the media and having to talk about it and everything, because we really had no control over that. I really thought, okay, well, this will blow over and we can go back to having normal lives, but now I'm not so sure that that's possible. There's no way, people Google our names, you see all that, everything. So it's kind of there. And we have gotten, a lot of messages from people that are very supportive and positive, and a lot of young people who say, they have no one to look up to. They have nothing. So how can you just ignore that and, not want to do something?
That's the problem, I think, with religion in general, at least the mainstream religion in America, is the simple fact that younger gay people, younger LGBT people, I suppose I should say, there's no God that's being espoused that's supportive. The churches are starting to open their doors a little bit, but it's difficult. And I can't imagine the younger people in the smaller areas like where we live, what their struggle is. But at this point, I hope that what comes out of all of this is the fact that these people these kids, these teenagers, all these people, they can be who they are, and God, if there is one, cares. At the very least, they need to understand that they need to care about themselves, and that's probably what is most important, is they need to take care of themselves and love themselves.
Yeah. And really for us, we can only speak to who we are. We're both white, gay guys, middle-aged guys. Really, it's easier for us than, like you said earlier, it's easier for us than it would be for a trans person or a gay person of color. They have a much different story and a much more difficult time, dealing with everything. I can't, we've been able to, go to job interviews and say, well, I'm single, and we can kind of pass off as being ambiguously, straight maybe, other people don't have that privilege. And we recognize that. We've had to, lie and say that we're cousins when we apply for housing, things, and we can do that. We can pass that, and we can do that. Some people don't have that privilege. So we know that, it's much more difficult for other people.
Yeah, the struggle is alive. It really, truly is.
Well, that's awesome. I want to thank you guys for taking the time. I know the last few weeks and months have been a total whirlwind for you. And I know that, even talking to someone like me who is 100% on your side, it can be exhausting, going through all of that over and over again. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time. Thanks for being so willing, to talk and everything. So thank you all for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
No, it's not a problem.
Thank you for having us, and it's nice to meet you.
As I've said on the show before, marriage is and was far from the only issue faced by the LGBT community. There are many states still where being gay can cost you your job or keep you from housing. More states still where those things can happen legally to a trans person. Our fight is far from over. But the world did get a little less cruel on June 26, 2015, when the highest court of the United States declared unambiguously that the love that queer people share for their partners is no different than the love straight people feel for theirs. It was inevitable that the fight wouldn't end at the Supreme Court's decision, and that some people, blinded by their religious convictions, making disgusting comparisons between themselves and the struggle for racial equality in the 60s, would fight the decision tooth and nail. The march of progress is slow. Too slow. But I want to thank my guests for their part in that progress and for taking the time to talk about it on the show here today. And that, my friends, is going to do it for this very special episode of the Gaytheist Manifesto on Secular Media Network. You can find the show on Facebook at facebook.com/The Gaytheist Manifesto. You can email us at thegaytheistmanifesto@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at GaytheistCali, and you can find the show on Twitter at The Gaytheists. Before we go, I want you to know that if you're lost, you're hurting, you're scared, if you feel like no one cares and no one understands, you need to know there's a community out here that loves you, cares for you, and knows that you're capable of amazing things and that you are worthy of love. If you're struggling, please don't be afraid to reach out. Until next time, friends, this is the Gaytheist Manifesto.